Ready when
Wrapping
you
up day 3 at SEC Football Media Days. Hashtag SECMD22 of Vince Ferrara. That is Eric Kane. And this was probably the deepest day in terms of teams here at Media Days. You had the national champions in Georgia. You had Arkansas, who was one of those teams in contention for a top 3 spot, the third best team in the league. And in the afternoon, Kentucky, a really good team. Florida Gators, typically good. We'll see this year, but we'll start with the national champs. What stood out about Kirby Smart and that really talented group?
Well, I mean, just kind of same as usual. Kirby Smart coming in didn't say a whole lot. None of the coaches ever say a whole lot, but something that stood out to me: complacency is not the issue. Experience is. They lost a whole lot of guys. Saying 95 of their players have name, image, likeness deals. Kirby, like pretty much everybody else around the SEC, loves the meaning behind name, image, and likeness, but using as inducements a no-no. And he said that needs to kind of be corrected. But Stetson Bennett, great audio and video up on the website, said a lot of good things. And I think they're just kind of looking for reloading, because when you recruit the way Kirby does, you may lose a lot, but your depth has been getting a little bit of experience, and you can step in, you can play across the SEC, maybe if you chose not to go to Georgia. So I think it's more of a reload instead of a reset for Georgia.
Yeah, it's about mindset, the whole complacency thing. You said, we're not complacent because this is a completely different team. Yeah. So just a mind spin type of thing. And then Stetson Bennett being interrupted by Nolan Smith, maybe the best linebacker in the country. Asked him his favorite outside linebacker, and he said one of his teammates. So much great content from those guys. So that's Georgia from today. Arkansas, Sam Pittman talked to Jimmy Himes earlier today, and man, he is just a breath of fresh air. He's just so different than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great personality. That's why everybody kind of loves him. He feels very personable, and you feel like you could go get a couple beers with him. Honestly, that's how you feel about Sam Pittman. To be completely honest. And so, he got up there and said some things. And Bumper Poole's a veteran linebacker that's been to SEC Media Days plenty of times, so he kind of had this route and kind of knows what to say and all that. KJ Jefferson, who I think is the guy not being talked about here enough. I mean, you got so many great quarterbacks, and he stepped up saying, hey, I learned some lessons from some of those tough losses last year. We got as high as top 10 to rate the country, and then we had that grueling stretch. I learned a lot from that. I think he's a guy that's potentially Arkansas, just like Tennessee, Kentucky, and some of these other teams could be third place in the SEC, third best team. So a lot of good stuff from Arkansas, but again, still nothing earth-shattering for that team.
Yeah, and Jefferson being talked about in the same conversation with Hendon Hooker, who's the second best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference. All right, the Florida Gators, Anthony Richardson, the star. Not as a lot of media around the Florida Gators today. Really interesting. Who knows what you're going to get in Billy Napier's first year, but what stood out about the Gators?
Hey, Billy Napier just happy to be here, learning an awful lot on the job, and again, steering into name, image, and likeness. He didn't come out and publicly endorse anything like he has in the past, but I mean, all coaches were asked about name, image, and likeness and said that, hey, you've got to essentially adapt or die and all that. And Billy Napier has been kind of like leading that pack, but Anthony Richardson saying that he has become a leader of this football team. He is using name, image, and likeness in the right ways, and that's something Will Levis, we'll get to that in a moment, said as well. But saying that there's a lot of talent on this team, and it's just a matter of getting in, buying into the system, and getting back to where they need to be, because the talent's there. It's just about learning the new schemes and all that.
Yeah, Richardson said Billy Napier told him he's the face of the program. Yeah. It's a sophomore, he hadn't been their starting quarterback until this year, so that was pretty interesting. At least they brought the face of the program. That's refreshing. And then
nothing to complain about today. Right. We have 4 quarterbacks, but
and then also Billy Napier said, look, everybody else in the league, when they play their rivals, they get to bring recruits in their rival games, and they're doing it on their campus. He was talking about the Florida-Georgia game at a neutral site where he can't do that. Kirby Smart looks at it different. Obviously, they've been able to recruit really well. So that was interesting. Kentucky, Mark Stoops, a lot of intrigue in Kentucky, and Will Levis, very impressive. He also stopped by our spot as well.
Yeah, Will Levis, very impressed with him. Didn't get to ask the one question I wanted to because time kind of ran out. But again, talking about name, image, and likeness, and using that not to tear apart a locker room, saying, and the audio is up on the website too if you want to hear the full thing, but saying he likes to golf, so we got a name, image, likeness deal with the golf course. Said, hey, I want to use this as a team-building exercise. So we got all the golfers on the team, and they have a weekly outing. He's actually missing it tonight because he's here, but saying that is how you can use name, image, likeness for a good opportunity, because he's going to get more opportunities than the rest of the guys in the locker room. So it was really impressive. Will Levis saying that, hey, he knows he turned the football over way too much last year. He said his favorite mix-up tape or highlight tape this year was all of his mistakes. So he goes back and watches and learns from there. DeAndre Square, the linebacker, very impressed with him and his growth on that defensive side of football. But Mark Stoops, one of the more consistent football coaches in the SEC, another team that could be considered third best in the conference.
Or second in the East in competition with Tennessee. We'll see where the media goes for the number 2 team in the East. I think it'll be one of those two. And then also Will Levis talking about his familiarity with Tim Banks at Penn State. Some interesting comments. You'll have to go to our website, 991lesportsanimal.com, the central page. There's video, there's audio, all of that content. We're probably in triple digits right now with all the content. And follow us on all our social media accounts. Sports Animal 991, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check all that out. There's so much content. And of course, Tennessee going tomorrow with Auburn and Texas A&M. Real quick, what are you looking forward to from Hooker, Flowers, and Tillman Wild?
Yeah, about how the offseason is going, how they're looking to correct the holes in the 3 wide receivers, left tackles, defense, what steps you've taken to shore up some things there. But more importantly, Hendon Hooker, one of the premier players, Cedric Tillman, one of the premier players in this conference. Excited to see them get some exposure tomorrow.
I think outside of Alabama and maybe Georgia, Tennessee might have the best trio of players.
I agree.
I think Arkansas is in that
And
conversation.
there will be a crowd. There'll be a huge crowd tomorrow morning when they come here.
Hopefully a lot of media doesn't leave, like sometimes happens with that fourth day. All right, @_Caner on Twitter, @Vince Sports, @SportsAnimal991. That'll do it. Thanks to Jay Leifer. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow as we wrap up Day 4 at SEC Football Media Days in ATL.